Hello, everybody. Welcome to Subconscious Sundays. I'm your co-host, April Kling Meyer. Oh, wait, Reverend April Kling Meyer. And this is my other co-host, Mr. Timothy Freeman. Hello, Tim.
Hi, welcome everybody.
So today's topic is roles and masks, which I forgot to put on the title, but it's both. And it's going to be an exploration of what our various roles mean to us and what it means to wear different masks and how to manage that. In the spirit of today's theme, Tim and I are switching roles today. He's doing more of the sermon-y thing, and I'm going to be leading meditation at the end. So it'll be an experiment. We probably
Yes.
won't do this again.
A
But we thought
little
we'd give it a
role
try.
reversal.
Yeah, role reversal is always an interesting way of shaking things up, right?
That's right. So yeah, we want to explore how the masks we wear in life relate to the roles that we play in life and how that might relate to our values and whatnot. So we like to start this off with just setting some intentions and kind of framing what we're doing here. This Subconscious Sundays, we want this to be fun and entertaining, laid back kind of way to discuss potentially serious and heavy topics. Um, Open and inviting. We want to welcome anybody who has questions or ideas to respectfully bring them to the conversation here.
Yeah, and this is our weekly ritual that we want to gather our shared community into in virtual sacred space and share our knowledge. We're learning on the go in our respective professions, and while also hearing your response. And we have
Yes.
these 4 core values that we always want to embody as we embark on this each week, which is being respectful of everyone's journey, staying rooted in compassion for ourselves and others, promoting growth and expansion, and of course, creating a supportive community, which means you, the viewers. And I see we have quite a few of you today. So that's exciting. Really
Oh,
glad to
great.
have a robust audience today. So exciting. So each week, if we're lucky to have enough fodder for it, enough grist for the mill, I like to put a teaser question for each week's episode on Facebook. I usually make this a public thing. So if there's something you want to engage with, find me on Facebook, April Kling Meyer, and look for my question usually around Tuesday or Wednesday of each week. This week's question for the audience was, the community, I should say, was how do you manage remaining authentic while managing multiple roles in life? So Russell answered this poorly. And Russell, that we exist to serve. That's why we're here. Hopefully this episode will help if you relate to Russell or perhaps Jeff. I don't. I just F it up. I'm loving the honesty. Don't you, Tim? I love this. I love that we can be a little bit more ourselves now.
Well, and it's just real life, right? I mean, this is how it can go, right? This is why we're talking about this.
Yeah, I can't say that I feel any different from Russell or Jeff. I can say that I can't exactly relate to Amanda here by yelling at everyone, but I will say that I give her points for consistency. And consistency is important when it comes to the roles we play. Very important. Devin says, as a highly functioning sociopath, I find the ability to mimic human emotions extremely valuable. Wait, what was the question again? Now, if you know Devin, it's no Devin. Hi, Devin, if you're watching. But now we'll move on to the people who took the question a little bit more seriously. This was Tim's favorite. Gloria says, I'm big on intentions. Mine. I usually get the information I need to gauge my authenticity in most situations. She actually goes on in this comment to say that sometimes she is taken by surprise. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Sometimes the information that she gets does not really match up to the situation and how she has to go into herself and kind of reevaluate. But we'll talk about that for sure. Elaine mentions years of therapy and wisdom work to integrate and embrace my shadow self. Margaret's doing some really cool work. She tunes in and puts her auric field up around an embodied elevated self and tunes into where the field may be collapsing. That is advanced practice, but that it sounds like Margaret. And it also sounds like some of the stuff we'll be talking about today in terms of skill building in this regard. My mom, also a consistent woman, always wants to be a part of what we're doing here. She says being true to herself and her values, which I'm here to tell you, that's the truth. My mom is very consistent in being true to herself. And
Hi,
then,
Claudia. I love you.
hi, mom. We love you. Transparency, honesty, embodiment, and really listening to what my body and soul are telling me, aligning body and soul, and knowing when a yes is an enthusiastic yes, consent, and when a no is a hard boundary. And she goes on to say sometimes she has to enter into a guilt and forgiveness inquiry with that, referring to a previous episode. So, yay! Really happy to hear that some of the stuff that we're talking about is becoming a part of the conversation. And Bear wants to say, I don't know Amanda, but I think I love her. Bear, I'm sure you feel like yelling at people all the time, but you don't. You're not a yeller, not in yoga class anyway. Not unless absolutely necessary. I'm so glad to have you back, Bear, by the way. So, Tim, what can you tell us about roles and masks today? And what are you encountering in your practice?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, this is a pretty big topic. We like to touch on this, and really, what I want to do here today is it's an invitation to reflect on the masks we wear and the roles we play in life, and I want to provide some cues for reflection throughout this week. Really, one thing that I want to start off by framing this something that, I have a self hypnosis practice that just really enriches my life and has really changed my life a lot. And something that came to me, and if you guys are not familiar with hypnosis, really the simplest definition, it's a state of relaxed and focused awareness where we're accessing the subconscious mind. We're kind of depotentiating the conscious mind, and we're able to get to the system that's really running the show here, the subconscious mind, if you want to view it that way. So something that came through to me in self hypnosis in terms of authenticity, and what we're talking about is how to be our authentic selves in the world, and what that looks like. Where are we not authentic? Where are we authentic? And really trying to foster uh, feeling safe and comfortable enough in this crazy world to be our authentic selves and bring our gifts to the world, because I believe that's why we're here. Um,
Me too.
so one thing that came through to me is, you relax into it. It's not forced. You, the more you try, the more struggle you take on. It's really, the message is like we relax into it. And I think a lot of what we find with the masks that we wear in the world, there's a pressure behind it. There's, we're trying to be something, we're trying to do something, and we have to be a particular way in order to do it. We, the more we can relax into ourselves and foster a connection between our internal and our external worlds, through meditation, hypnosis, any number of these things. The more we do that, the more we're able to just relax into our authentic selves. And I think the more that makes sense. It started to make more and more sense to me. But
So
really,
we have a comment on that actually, Tim.
yeah,
Christelle says the mask we wear and the roles we play, very good. One of my most significant therapy sessions was overcoming pretending. Good to be here, and we're glad to have you, Christelle.
yeah, thank you. And that's a big deal for a lot of people. So I just want to frame this first of all, and I want to kind of workshop this a little bit with you guys. Really, and again, it's an invitation to reflect on this throughout the week. So we're not going to take the time to do any deep reflection right now, but I'm going to give you some tools or some cues to reflect on. So in terms of masks, we developed ways of being in this world um, in our early life, and a lot of these echo through into our adulthood, whether we consciously realize it or not. And so I want to start off by just touching on Carl Jung here. One of the things he talks about is the persona. It's a functional complex that comes into existence from it's an adaptational response, or comes into existence for personal convenience. It's not identical to our sense of individuality. And I'm not an expert on Jung. These are some things that I introduced myself to in kind of looking into this. But the persona is concerned with relation to the external world, right? Just as anima and animus are in relation to our internal world. But the persona is the individual's system of adaptation to, or the manner he assumes in dealing with the world. Every calling or profession, for example, has its own characteristic persona. He goes on to say a certain kind of behavior is forced on them by the world, and professional people endeavor to come up with these expectations. Only the danger is that they become identical with the personas. The professor with his textbook, the tenor with his voice. Then the damage is done. Henceforth, he lives exclusively against the background of his own biography. So I just thought this was really an intriguing concept here, in terms of these masks that we wear in life. But really, the thing that stuck out to me the most that I want to relay here is that it's functional. The persona relates, dynamically to the other aspects of ourself, and so we must be as consciously related to it as we are any other complex, and with compassion. I think that's really key. We know that the masks that we developed in early life, the masks that we wear now, they're largely protective, but they're functional in the way we relate to the external world. So some of them are, kind of inane or inert, and they don't have a bearing on authenticity. We serve a function and a job, and we have to maintain a certain persona for that function, right? And some of them they bleed into our whole life and the way we functionally relate. So just know that even if something doesn't feel good, like if a mask that you wear or a mask that you developed in early childhood, maybe you ripped off that mask by this time in adulthood because it doesn't serve you functionally. But just know that it was developed. We developed it as a protection and a way to exist in this world, because we would become absolutely, if we were, our full, true, authentic selves all of our life, from childhood on, that's really hard to do. We have to we have to maintain certain roles and functions. So I want to also touch on, before I get to some cues for reflection here, the in shamanic practice, cultures around the world have used masks in magic, ceremony, ritual, and shamanic practice to help embody our helping spirits, really to kind of highlight or even potentiate this flow of power between us and spirit. So it's all about intention there. So this is a big point that I want to make here in terms of masks. It's intention, and what is the intention behind that mask? And I think that's a really good point of reflection. So I was talking to April earlier, and Really, this is a fairly casual ritual here. We're all joining together each week, trying to um, create somewhat of a ritual around this. And there's formal rituals, right? There's a little bit more casual rituals. I would count this as a little bit more of a casual ritual. But if
It's a
you
casual
step,
formal.
yeah, right, right. But if you take a step back further and view our life in general as a ritual of co-creation, everybody's beliefs differ. I believe that we co-create our own reality, and if you believe that too, then we can start to view our life as a ritual of co-creation. And again, it's all about our intention. So I just wanted to kind of touch on those. And right now, what I'd like you to do, if you have any way of writing anything down, pen and paper or on a device, I would like for you to just right now, off the top of your head, think of 3 masks that you wear in your life. This could be like a few examples here. It could be a mask of friendship. It could be a mask of empath. It could be a mask of expert
Customer
authority.
service.
Yeah, right. It could be a mask of tough guy. It could be a mask of, anything. Think about the top 3. I want you to write down whatever comes to mind, top 3 masks that you wear. They could be things you like, things you don't like, top 3 masks that you wear.
So for mine, that would
Um,
be like minister slash counselor, because it's kind of the same thing. Link
sure.
to book a session, free session in the comments for either one of us, by the way. Shameless plug. Um, and then my other 2 would be wife and then mother. So those would be like my 3 primary masks that I wear, 3 primary roles that I play. And I tend to show up consistently in all 3 of those. I tend to be the same person in all 3 of those roles. But I know that for a fact, I mentioned customer service because when I worked in like waiting tables or telephone customer service, or generally in any role where I have to serve a client or a customer, I feel like I have to be kind of like put my authentic self aside. In fact, there used to be in psychology something referred to as flight attendant syndrome that I read about when I was working in customer service, where these flight attendants were having these really terrible bouts of rage in their personal lives. And it was as a result of having to maintain this really rigid mask on an airplane all day for their work, sometimes 16, 20 hours a day. I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, and so when we become identified with that persona, there's a danger that we have a harder time living our authentic selves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know specifically about this flight attendant syndrome, but I can imagine if you're wearing this mask all day like that, like you might start to wear that mask in other settings and have a harder time, feeling authentic. I can imagine that. So I'm glad you brought up roles too, because I wanted to differentiate and relate both masks
Yes.
and roles, right? So it's like the masks we wear is a little bit more kind of like fundamental, like functional complex in our psyche, right? The persona. Um, and then the roles we play might be reflections of that mask, um, but they might not too. So um, a cue for reflection on this. You wrote down your 3 masks. They might be synonymous with roles you play. That's okay. But throughout this week, if you really want to reflect on, if you want to dive deeper, get yourself into a relaxed and focused state, hypnosis, meditation, anything like that. Just get yourself into a relaxed state. Imagine, what it looks like, what it feels like to be wearing that mask, what you're doing when you're wearing those masks, and how does it feel? And then, imagine taking off that mask, and what's the intention behind wearing that mask. And that's kind of the kernel of truth that I want to get at here, and this relates to roles too. So right now, think of the top 3 roles you play in your life. um, they could be things that are really important to you. They might be functional roles, just the top three, where you spend your precious time, money, and energy is what I'm getting at in terms of roles, top 3 roles.
Okay.
Um, Here, they might be, go and write those down too. So just write down the top 3 masks, write down the top 3 roles. This week, reflect on how those might relate. I think there's a lot of rich things here as I've been reflecting on it for myself. So I don't want to give any other prescriptive advice on how to do that beyond this, because I think it's just constructive and beneficial to let it be open-ended for you and let your subconscious kind of come into the equation here and find what feels good to you, the roles you play, the intentions behind the masks we wear, the intentions behind the roles we play. And so, for reflection on the roles we play, really briefly here, the cue for reflection that I want to invite you this week is, think about, oftentimes in hypnosis, what we're doing is we're shifting perspective. We might reframe thoughts, or find a function or a reason behind some emotions that we have that's helpful to us. So here, the cue is, what's your intention behind those roles?
Right.
And you might, if it's a role that is not in alignment, doesn't feel in alignment with your values, maybe you kind of have to do it or whatever it is. Think about the intention behind playing that role, and that kind of reflects maybe a need that you have that needs to be met. And I think it might be beneficial to reframe some of these roles based on the intention. Reframing the masks with like the function of them, reframing the intention, or reframing the roles we play with the intentions behind them. So that if one of your roles is a mother, what is your intention behind that? Well, you might want to be a supportive figure in helping bring up this person into this world. So you might reframe that as supporter. And I think that might be helpful in both expanding that intention into the world in other roles and helping focus that role in that intention.
Yeah.
That's my hope for this reflection. So without further ado, we have a guided meditation that April will lead us through. And so let's get started with that.
Yes. And thank you for clearing up the difference between roles and masks for me, because going into this, I really kind of thought they were the same thing, but I really did learn something
They can
today.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I mean,
Maybe
they very well can be.
that's a good cue for my own personal reflection. And I also wanted to add, and I know you'll agree with me, that my own favorite way of getting some depth on this inquiry is dream work, dream journaling, because you get a real good clue as to where you are emotionally in the roles that you play when you write down what your emotions actually are in the scenarios that your dream state takes you into and the people that your dream state puts in front of you. So, something to put out there, that dream work and dream journaling are crucial in this process, in this inquiry. So, I'll go ahead and take up the screen here, give Tim a little bit of a break. Hello, everyone. This is the first time I've ever done this on YouTube, anyway. While I am not a certified hypnotherapist or hypnotist, I am somebody who does a great deal of guided meditation for my clients and for the groups and retreats that I have facilitated. So you're still in good hands. I just have a very different style. And we'll give that a shot today. So without further ado, as Tim and I say, go ahead and just lower your gaze or close your eyes. Make sure that whatever position that you're in right now is a comfortable, safe situation for your body, and that you feel well supported, comfortable, and if at all possible, make sure that your feet, the bottoms of your feet, are touching the ground or the surface on which you are resting, such as a couch. If not, that is fine. If you want to keep your feet elevated, that's good too. But as I like to say, as we enter meditation, now with your eyes closed and your body nice and safe and comfortable, make sure that your body is in a position where if gravity were to suddenly be canceled, that your body could simply float up in exactly the shape that it is now, and that the surface beneath you would vanish and your body would stay in the same shape and you would still feel good, safe, and comfortable. And in this guided meditation, it's really important that we breathe. It's really vital that we take breath into our bodies. Take a good deep breath now, as deeply as you comfortably can, without forcing it, and let it out as much as you comfortably can, with no strain, no particular strife. Simple, soft, easy, sweet breath, giving life to your precious body. And as you breathe in and out, a bit more consciously than you usually do, elongate the breaths softly and evenly, balancing inhale with exhale. And then allow your subconscious mind to simply take over the role of breathing for you as you enter into a meditative realm. Follow into the imagery that I present to you. We will go into our inner world of imagination. And we will begin walking forward, our bare feet on soft grass, cool to the touch. A slight breeze in the air that smells sweet. Walking forward, we see in front of us a table. And behind that table, from our view, is a beautiful fountain, spurting life-giving, beautiful liquid, drinkable, clear water. Today, that clear water from the fountain will represent compassion. And there, as we approach the table, we see that there are 3 masks lying upon the table with no particular association with them. We approach them and we begin to see the 3 masks that Tim mentioned before and asked us to write down. We take a gaze at each one. One of those masks in particular is calling to be picked up, to be looked at a little bit more closely. Pick up that mask now. Turn it over to see the inside of the mask. Notice that the surface of the interior of this mask is mirrored so perfectly that you can see the exact reflection of your own physical face. Put the mask on briefly, just to see how it feels in your body to have that mask on your face. Take a breath. Breathe in and out. tuning in to the body, the places in the body where this mask lands, in your shoulders, in your abdomen, your ribs, your arms or your legs, perhaps your hips, your fingers, your toes, maybe even in your face or your forehead. Now set the mask apart from your face. Gaze into the reflection once again. Notice if anything has changed for you. Notice if you see anything differently in the reflection this time. Perhaps your expression has changed. Reach the mask over to the fountain. Fill it with the life-giving waters of compassion and set it back on the table. Take the second mask. Pick it up. See your reflection clearly in the mirrored surface of the interior of the mask. Put it on. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. Feel where the mask resonates in your body. Perhaps in your shoulders, your abdomen, your ribs, your arms or your legs, your toes or your fingers, or perhaps your face, your scalp or your forehead. Pull the mask away from your face and look in the reflection of the second mask. As tuning into this mask and what it represents for you, change the expression of your face. Fill the interior of this mask with the life-giving waters of compassion and set it back down on the table. Pick up the third mask. Notice that the interior of this mask is perfectly reflective, a mirror where you can see the physical aspect of your face. Put the mask on. Take a breath. Notice how the mask resonates in your body. Perhaps you feel that in your shoulders, your hips, your abdomen or your ribs, your arms or your legs, your fingers, your toes, your face, your forehead or your scalp. Tune into that sensation where that mask lives inside your body. Pull the mask away from your face. Once again, take a look at your expression. Notice if it has changed. Fill that mask with the life-giving waters of compassion and set it back into the table. And as you gaze one final time at these masks filled with compassion, look at the first mask. Ask yourself, in what ways within this role am I the hero? Am I the villain? Am I the victim? And in the second mask, ask yourself the same three questions. In what ways, in the roles that I play with this mask on, do I play the hero? Do I play the villain? Do I play the victim? Gaze upon the third mask. Reflect on the roles that you play when you're wearing that mask. Ask yourself the same 3 questions. In what ways, when I am wearing this mask, am I the hero? Am I the villain? Am I the victim? Gaze at these masks one last time, all together, on one singular table, filled to the brim with compassion. Check in with your body. Begin to deepen your breath. Take in inhales and exhales as deeply as you comfortably can, maintaining an evenness and equality with inhales and exhales. Begin to return to the sensation of gravity on your body, the surface upon which your body rests, your chair, the ground, your couch, the bottoms of your feet. Once walking on the cool grass of your imagination, returning to the surface in which they are placed here in our current reality. Flutter your eyes open whenever you're ready, and rejoin us here on the screen. April and Tim. How'd
Wow,
that go for you?
thank you. Oh, that was awesome. And I tell you what, I want to, it's like, as torturous as it might be to rewatch myself on this video, I want to rewatch this video and go through your meditation, and really, really get into this, a little bit more, because as I was talking, like I kind of wrote down my, I had previously written down my masks and my roles or whatever, but I do want to invite everybody else to do this too. Rewatch this video this week, and if you want to dive deeper on this, like, go through this awesome meditation, April's meditation with me this week again, and I think there's a lot here for all of us. So thank you, April.
Thank you very much. I wanted to share James's comment here. Really good conversation on roles and masks and questions too. Thank you. Yes, thanks for being with us today, James. And I want to close every week by just reminding you that Tim and I are absolutely unequivocally available to book time with us. We both offer the opportunity to meet with either one of us in a free session with no obligations implied. If you just want to get to know more about us and our work and find out if it's a good fit for ongoing sessions, then go right ahead and book some time. Don't be shy. Really, it's a great way for us to all get to know one another and see if something that either one of us offers can be useful to you and can help enhance the trajectory of your life. And the links to do either a session with myself or Tim are always in the description of every video. I almost forgot, and I don't want to forget, Tim, that meditation, as awesome as you believe it was, thank you, is loosely based on a meditation provided to me on multiple occasions through the lovely Joanna Bell of Illumina Yoga. She does a guided meditative yoga asana called a mirrored mask, and that is somewhat adapted from her. It's very much made my own, but I did want to mention that that was very much borrowed from Joe Bell's mirror mask meditation. So thank you, Joe. And I know it's better to ask for permission than forgiveness, but I know you, Joe. You're going to forgive me. It's subtle. It'll be grand. It'll be grand. Especially if I give credit where credit is due, right?
Well, and it's helping expand her work too. So thank you, Joanne. Is that her name?
Joanna Bell. Yeah.
And thank you, April, for adapting that like this. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait to do it again and go a little deeper on it.
Awesome. Well, it's time to go. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thanks again to my co-host, Timothy, who I adore. And we'll see you next week.